Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Zsuzsi. Thank you so much for being here today. In today's video, we are going to do a massive unhaul. I think that so far, this is going to be the biggest unhaul that I have ever done on my channel. A couple of weeks ago, I reorganized my entire book collection. I will leave the link to the video down in the description box. And during that process, because I have a book collection that's about around 500 books big, I found a couple of books on my bookshelf that I just completely forgot about. I never read those books, and with all honesty, I completely lost interest in those books, and I already unhauled those books and I put them aside. Certainly I will show you guys those books, but this inspired me to do another unhaul for my DNFs and for my TBR, because oh boy, I DNF'd so many books in the past couple of months. It's absolutely freaking insane. And because I don't really have space, I store my DNFs on my TBR cart. And on top of that, I also have a couple of still unread, unsampled books on my TBR cart that I am just not really interested anymore. I don't know what to say. This is the curse of being a mood reader. You guys really liked my last unhaul video where I basically unhauled with you guys, and that is exactly what we are going to do in today's video. I'm just gonna grab my cart, unload all the books from the cart, and then we will go through the books individually, and I will tell you which one are the DNFs, which one I'm just simply not interested anymore, and which books are the ones that I am keeping. And I will also try to organize the TBR cart a little bit. So today's video is basically going to be a 2-in-1. It's not enough that we will unhaul, oh my god, a lot of books. We will also go through my entire physical TBR and organize it a little bit. So this is the stack of books, guys, that I actually ended up removing from my bookshelf while I was reorganizing my collection. And you can see that I labeled this stack as unhaul, and these are the books that I want to take to little free libraries. You guys know that I love donating my books to little free libraries. You guys let me know if you want to see the little free library vlogs or not. So we have quite a lot of books, don't worry, I will show you the individual books. And then look at this thing. This is the situation that I'm talking about. On this TBR card, everything is so messy and it is so overloaded because it's not just my TBR, but also all my DNFs. And we just simply need to clear this up. Look at my cutesy decoration. You guys know that my mom makes all my decorations, and I really like this blue pumpkin. This is something that was actually made by me. Anyways, so let me grab the card, let me grab this stack of books, and let's get to work.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my
Well guys, just like last time, welcome to my little book fort. Wow, I am trapped in here. It's okay, I don't mind being surrounded by books, but I cannot really stretch my leg, and this is gonna be a problem. So there is no system here. I mean, welcome to my channel. Have you ever seen any system on this channel? We're going to go by stack, and I think I'm going to start on this side, so later on in the video, if I need to, I can stretch my legs a little bit, okay? Let me just move this a little bit. The only two books that I have not removed from my TBR cart are two Hungarian books. These do not have translations, so I'm not gonna show them to you guys, but these are on my TBR, and these one have been on my TBR for a long time. time, and I should really get to these books. These are like fantastic books. I know that they are fantastic books. They are historical books and historical romances, and we know exactly how I feel about historical romances this year. I am going through my historical romance era. Anyways, back to the unhauling. Like, you guys know that I can like chat and yap a lot. So let's just try to keep on track. This stack of books first. And I think I'm going to bring you a little bit closer so you can actually see the book that I'm talking about. So the first book is Voyage of the Damned, and this is a book that I picked up just a week ago, a week ago in New York City when I went to Barnes & Noble, and I picked up a couple of Barnes & Noble special editions, and this is a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. This is a new release. This is a fantasy mystery. Some people say that it's got like an Agatha Christie style murder mystery in here, and everything happens on a ship, and we all know how I feel about ships. So this is, of course, something that stays, and I am also going to put it on the top shelf of my little TBR cart. Next is The Book of Form and Emptiness by Ruth Ozeki, and this is something that stays. We all know how I feel about Ruth Ozeki. I think that woman is just everything when it comes to literature. Okay, I mean, she got the Pulitzer Prize, you know, for a reason. All right, next is a non-fiction book, The Evolution of God. This has been on my TBR for such a long time, and I still haven't gotten to it, mostly because it intimidates me. Like, non-fictions that are like 500-600 pages long, they really intimidate me. This is something that I definitely want to finish in like a reasonable amount of time, and also Sapiens, but both of these books just really intimidate me, and getting the audiobook, I don't think that it would actually help. Oh my god. All right. Next is a romance, a contemporary romance, 8 Perfect Hours, and this is something that I'm not going to read till March, because this book takes place in March, and usually here in Massachusetts March is still very cold and it's very snowy, and this is a romance that takes place like in the snow. The characters get trapped during a snowstorm. It sounds so good. So till March I am going to keep it here. Next is the only Emily Henry book that I have not read yet, Happy Place. I've read all of her other books, and you know what? I like them. I have no idea why I cannot get to Happy Place, but certainly I will. This is something that I am not unhauling. I promise you guys that we will get to the books that I am unhauling. I have a lot. Next is A Soul of Ash and Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I am reading the Blood and Ash, From Blood and Ash series, and also like the prequel to that series, and I am not completely caught up. I think I read the first 3 books, like both in the original series and in the prequel, and I need to catch up with, you know, with the series. So this is also something that stays, but with all honesty, not a high priority. And now, the first book that I'm actually going to unhaul in this video, and it breaks my freaking heart, and that is Long Live Evil. This is a new release, and when I heard of this book, I pre-ordered this book. That's how insanely interested I was in this book. Sounds so good, actually, because the main female character in this book, she has a very serious disease and she dies, and she gets into her sister's favorite romantasy book as a character, and she makes a bargain with somebody, and she somehow has to like survive in the book as a villain so that she can get a chance in real life to survive. The premise of this book is like so good, and believe it or not, I read the first 50 pages in this book like at least 3 times, and the problem is that it's a book in a book situation, and I do not understand the fantasy world in the book. Am I explaining it? Like, correctly. I'm pretty sure that you guys understand what I'm saying, right? I just don't understand that fantasy world. And I tried. I even bought the audiobook, guys, because I thought that that would help me. No, I cannot get into this book. I cannot enjoy this book. So I am so heartbroken to say this, but Long Live Evil, unfortunately, has to go. Next is another book that has to go, and that is another romantasy book, Fortuna Sworn. You know, I got this book because Emma and Gavin, they both showed this book in their respective book haul videos, and they got like special editions, and they were like, oh my god, this series is so good. And I am going through kind of like a project when I try to find romantasy books that I actually love and I adore, because this year I have been struggling with romantasy book. I have not found even a single one that I truly adored. And I got this book and I read, you know what I read? Wait, I know exactly because I actually marked it. I read, no, that's not true. Wait, where is my little mark? I think I lost the mark. I'm sorry, but I read around 100 pages in this book, and I didn't know that this book was a dark fantasy romance. I had absolutely no idea that that subgenre existed. Of course, I know about fantasy romance and I know about dark romance. I just didn't know that, you know, those two merge, and they do. And unfortunately, it's not really my jam. This book plays with consent a lot, and I don't like it. And I read for enjoyment, you know, so I DNF books that I don't enjoy. I just think that time is so incredibly precious. So I am very heartbroken about this, but Fortuna Sworn has to go. And also the next book, and I can already see that the next couple of books actually, they also have to go because they just didn't work for me. Next is Walk the Blue Fields by Claire Keegan. I want to love the books and the short stories of this author. I want to, but I just cannot get into it. I like to read short story and short story collections, like this is a short story collection, especially when I'm stressed out or when I'm anxious and I cannot really focus. Then short stories really help me out, but not this one and not this year. I just couldn't get into this book, and I already read like easily 60% of this book, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to give this up. Short stories for some reason this year are just not working for me, and there is another short story collection in this stack that I sampled and I had the exact same feeling. You know what, I just can't, it doesn't give me any joy. So again, this is something that has to go. And the next book also have to go, and I think I actually think that I have unhauled this book once, A Castle in the Clouds, but I kept it. I kept it because I wanted to read last year. This book takes place during New Year's Eve, I believe, and it is a YA mystery book, and there's a cat there as a character, and I thought that, you know what, this just sounds so good, I am going to read it during New Year's, but I didn't do it. And it's a YA, so I'm not sure that it's really going to work for me, and I'm just like, I really have to be ruthless in this unhaul video, so I am just going to get rid of it. Now that I opened the book, I actually know why I kept it, because the inside of this book is just so incredibly gorgeous. But who am I kidding? I'm actually not going to read this book. Oh, I always struggle with this. I say every single time when I unhaul that I have to be ruthless, but then I don't really want to get rid of the books. I mean, this doesn't make any sense. But I remember one of you commented under one of my unhaul videos, and one of you said that it's probably the best, like when you unhaul, to come up with a timeline in your head. Like, you know, ask yourself, am I going to read this book till the end of this year? Am I going to read this book in the next like 3 months, 6 months, whatever? And if the answer is no, then just unhaul the book. And honestly, I really like that idea. So I think I am going to follow that advice in today's video. On to the next book. The next book The Beekeeper of Aleppo, that I also DNF'd, and therefore I am unhauling in today's video. And guys, this is going to be a historical moment here, and I know that for so many of you this is going to make no sense. I feel like you guys can only see really just the top of my head, but that's okay. I have a beautiful head. So, back to the unhauling. This is the first time in my life when I am DNFing a book and I am unhauling a book because I love it so much. And I know that this doesn't make any sense, but just bear with me for a second. So when I got this book, because this book has been on my TBR for a very long time, I kind of in my head, I compared it to The Island of Missing Tree by Elif Shafak, which is one of my all-time favorite books, right? I included it one of my videos when I discuss all my favorite books. And even in premise, this book is like a little bit similar to that book. In this book, we are following a Syrian couple, Syrian refugees who immigrate to Britain just to save their lives, and the lady in the book is actually blind. So you know, this book is incredibly emotional, and it has a very, very serious effect on me. It is a tearjerker. I am 50 pages in and I already teared up twice because I know exactly what's going to happen, and it is really, really, really hard for me to read this book. And I just can't, I just cannot. I don't know, maybe to some of you this is going to sound absolutely crazy, but I cannot handle this book. At least I cannot handle this book right now. And with all honesty, I don't think that I am even going to read this book and pick up this book even next year. So for now, this is something that has to go. And when I need, I don't know, a good cry, then maybe I will pick this book back up. But till then, I'm just gonna leave it in a little free library and then somebody else can enjoy it. The next books, I can say that these are two classics. Both of them I got in London. No, this one I got in Edinburgh, and then this one I got in London. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and also The Picture of Dorian Gray. These books I am keeping, and honestly, I want to get to these books like in the next 3 to 4 months. They are on my winter TBR. I picked up a lot of books in London as well as in Edinburgh, and honestly, slowly, but I am chewing myself through of those books, and that's just something that makes me very happy. Okay guys, now I am just going to remove a couple of books from here so that you can actually see me. The first one is A Master of Jinn. This is staying with me. This is historical fantasy murder mystery taking place in Cairo, Egypt. Are you kidding me? Of course, this is something that stays. Also, The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. Elif Shafak is one of my favorite authors. Certainly, her books stay with me. And the next book, this is actually something that is on my December TBR. I bought this last year. I didn't get to reading it, but I am reading it this year, December to remember. I am putting that on my cart. Next is The Greatest Invention. This is a non-fiction book that is discussing the eldest scripts that humanity has. This is one of the worst books that I've ever read in my life. I honestly cannot recommend it. I restarted this book so many times, but the writing in this book, this is something that's been translated from Italian, and first I thought that it's maybe the translation that's a little bit weird. No, it is the writing style. I read like, I don't know, 50 pages and I cannot tell you anything. Like, I learned nothing and I don't understand this book at all. Like, it feels like that this book is unedited. It feels like that nobody actually read this book before it got published. Anyways, this is something that has to go. And the next book is another DNF and another short story collection that I mentioned when I talked about the Claire Keegan book. I cannot get into short stories. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. This is something that I am DNFing. And continuing with this thought, I am also DNFing, now not a short story collection, but an essay collection, because I think it's not exactly the best essay collection that I ever read in my life, and that is I Was Told There Would Be Cake. I am very interested actually to pick up the full-length novels of this author, but these essays about her life is just something that I am not really interested in. I think I read like maybe 4 or 5 of these essays, and unfortunately the whole book feels very disjointed. And I am sure that this lady is very nice in person and she's very funny. I do think that she's very funny. It's just that her personal anecdotes, again, about her life, and I don't know her, right, is just not very interesting. But she has a novel. What's the title? Cult Classics, I think. Whatever, I am going to leave it on the screen. That is a book that I am genuinely interested in, and I am going to pick that up from this author. The next book, it certainly stays. This is something that I bought for Christmas, and you guys have no idea how hard it was to actually track this book, and that is Wallflower Christmas by Lisa Kleypas. The Wallflower series by Lisa Kleypas has become one of my favorite historical romance series. Thank you so much for the person who actually recommended Lisa Kleypas to me. Girl, you did a huge service to me. I absolutely adore Lisa Kleypas now. I adore Tessa Dare, and I also adore Lisa Kleypas now. And I am in serious trouble because once I finished their backlist, what am I going to do? Anyway, so this is on my December TBR. Like, I want to read it so bad, but nope, I am going to wait till December. And this book, guys, you cannot smell it because you cannot smell it through the camera, but this book is so heavily scented because I bought this used. Again, it's a book that I could barely find, and I got it from Goodwill Books, I believe, and this is very old. And somebody, I feel, scented it, so I cannot smell how old the book is, and I need to air it out because this is a serious problem. Like, this is a very serious problem. You guys let me know if you have any idea, like how to deal with books that are old and scented, because this perfume, like, this is something that does not work with me. Okay, let me just remove a couple of books from this stack because I feel like that this stack is going to go over. So these are the books that I haven't sampled, I haven't read. I just simply lost interest in reading them. The very first one is Powerless. I know that so many people out there love this book. I'm not interested in it anymore. And again, this year I am just not doing great with fantasy romance. Please, guys, if you have fantasy romance books that you could recommend to me, please do. Please leave a comment. Please let me know because I am struggling and I need your help. All right, the next book that I'm going to DNF is I'm Glad My Mom Died. I picked this up because this memoir was the rage, and I genuinely understand why. But the problem is that I didn't grow up watching Nickelodeon. I don't really know who Jeanette McCurdy is, and I'm just going to leave this book in a little free library, and then hopefully, you know, somebody else who actually knows, oh my goodness, who Jeanette McCurdy is, they can actually enjoy this book and draw the conclusions, you know? And then another book that I am going to just simply, again, leave in a little free library is One Day in December. I had multiple copies of this book, and this was on my December TBR. And then I started going through the reviews because I thought that this is just a cutesy Christmas romance. No. Everybody said that, guys, this is a romance. No, this is a love story. This is not a romance. And I was like, ugh, this December, I don't need anything heavy. Because you know what it means when people say this is a love story. not a romance. You know exactly what that means. So no, thank you. I have other Christmas romances on my December TBR.
Oh, this is a problem. Ooh, guys, pins and needles, pins and needles. This is a problem. I need to stretch. Oh my god, I cannot feel my legs.
Let me just grab this stack of books and then we are done with one stack. The Science of Storytelling. This is a non-fiction book and this is something that stays with me. This is the last book that I bought in Sydney, Australia, before I moved to the United States. So this book kind of reminds me of my home. I don't want to get rid of this book. I am planning to read it and eventually I will read it, probably not next year. So I am technically breaking my own rule here, but in the next 5 years, you know what? I am going to read it. I am going to read it. And when I just look at the back of the book and I see the Dimmicks sticker, that was my favorite book store in Sydney. Feelings, 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 come to the surface, come to me. All right. The next book is, oh my god, these are a lot of non-fiction here. Okay, I'm keeping every single one of them. This Land is Our Land by Sukitu Mehta. This is certainly stays. The Butchering Art by Lindsay Fitzharris. This is something that stays. I wanted to read this book in October so bad. I might put it on my November TBR because I really want to read about it. It's a little bit of a gruesome book. I need it in my life. I also need All About Love in my life. And this is something that I want to read kind of like in January, February. So this is, of course, stays. The Architect's Apprentice, Elif Shafak book that I bought in London. Certainly, this is something that stays with me. Okay. I've not read this book yet. Just for the Summer by Eddie Jimenez. I totally forgot about this book. I know that this book was the rage in the spring or early summer. I don't know when this book came out. I just never got to reading it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not like super interested in this book. I picked it up because of the hype and because I had FOMO. Should I DNF this? Should I unhaul it? I cannot DNF it because I haven't started it, I haven't read it. I'm going to keep it for now. You guys let me know if I should read this book or not. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm going to keep it. Do I want to read it? Yeah, but maybe next summer? I don't know. Or maybe in the winter when I'm freezing my tits off, maybe. All right, next is The Idiot by Elif Batuman. Certainly, this is something that stays. Hungarian countryside and Harvard. Are you kidding me? Certainly, that book stays with me. This is Mary Oliver Poetry Collection, Devotions. This is staying with me. I've already read a couple of poems and I freaking adore this poetry collection, so certainly stays. But I think I should put it on the top tier because I'm kind of like already reading it. Next is another non-fiction, Get Well Soon. This is about the plagues that humanity had to endure, and all the heroes, nurses and doctors and scientists who fought them. So this is something that stays with me. Certainly. Oh boy. Now the other book. Now this is something that is not staying with me, and that is Mektab by Paulo Coelho. Oh my god, guys, that Lisa Kleypas book, wow. Oh, it really hit me. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, so Mektab by Paulo Coelho. I found this book in a little free library. And I had no idea that this book existed because this is a companion novel to The Alchemist. And I read The Alchemist, and at the time when I first read it, I was like, what, in my early 20s? You know, it was a life-changing book. Now it's not that life-changing anymore, but anyways, I decided to pick up the companion novel and I thought, hey, if I don't like it, I can just put it back into a little free library, and that's exactly what's going to do. This book is supposed to be like a meditation. And I have no idea why, but I have a fourth wing and an iron flame bookmark in here. This is not mine. So probably it came with one of the books that I picked up from a little free library. I'm gonna put it back. Anyways, so this book contains a meditation for each day. And that sounds so good. I have another nonfiction book here coming up, The Daily Stoic, that's kind of like got the same build up. And I read a couple of these meditations and a couple of these advice, you know, that's in the book, but I disagree with them. I haven't read even just one meditation / advice, whatever it is in this book that I actually agree with. So no, this is something that has to go. I am going to put it back into a little free library. Next is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. This was a book that I read in one of my 24-hour readathons. I attempted to read this book, but it didn't work for me. I DNF'd that book fairly quickly. This is not a thriller, this is a drama, and this is a really, really boring drama. So this is something that has to go. I am just, again, going to leave it in a little free library. Next is The Whispering Dark. This is a dark academia fantasy that takes place in Boston during the fall. So I still have time if I want to read it. Honestly, I really want to. Just my TBR already for November is like so heavy. But when I saw the purple flowers that are basically little skulls on this cover, I was like, hello, you are coming home with me. So I bought this book and I am keeping it. If I don't read it this year, I'm going to read it next year. All right, next, a couple of fantasy books. The very first one is Thrown in the Dark. I know that this fantasy romance is actually a rage on the internet. It's the purple cover that got me. I need to read it. I need to read it, and I really hope that I will like it. If you guys read that book, let me know. Next is a fantasy romance book, The Witch Collector by Carissa Weeks, that I DNF'd, and therefore I am unhauling it. I had such high hopes when it comes to this series. I already bought the second and the third book in the series on Audible because there was a huge sale. The audiobooks were like only $2 or something like that, and I thought that I would adore this fantasy romance series, so I invested into the audiobooks. And no, this is something that doesn't work for me. I tried twice. I am not going to try a third time. I feel that somehow Audible has to figure it out how to donate audiobooks. Like, you know, when you buy a book and whether you read it or not, like, it doesn't really matter, and you just want to give that book to somebody, you want to share that book, or you want to donate that book. I think that Audible should come up with, like, you know, a plan how to do that. I think that would be a really cool feature. Maybe they already do it, I just don't know about it. Anyways, you guys let me know. Next is another fantasy romance that I DNF'd, and again, this book actually made me so angry. This book is so bad, An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. There are other books that I want to read from this author, but probably not this one. I really do not like the characters in this book. The world is okay, though we didn't get a lot of world building, but I think it's okay. It's just the characters. These characters are like all the time, okay? And that's not a plot. Being is not a plot, okay? Moving on. A Beauty and the Beast retelling by T. Kingfisher. Bryony and Roses. I am so interested in this one. This is a book that I only picked up like maybe 2 days ago. I haven't started yet, but this is very high priority on my TBR, so I am just going to put it there. Inner Engineering by Shaguru. I am 50% into this book. It stays. I like it. I want to finish it, hopefully this year. And then the other book that I really want to read soon is a new release. a fantasy, dark academia, new release, Blood. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm sorry guys. Blood over Brighthaven. I feel bad that I didn't pick up the indie version of this book, because this is the traditionally published version, and I never know whether authors or publishing companies change, you know, a little bit of the plot, a little bit of the characters. Some people say that they do all the time, and I was interested in the, like, you know, in the original work. But anyways, this is the one that I got, and this is very, very, very high priority on my list. This is a very, very beautiful book. It's good quality, but also like the artwork, the maps and everything, and the font size in this book is just like perfection. And look at those red sprayed edges. Oh, I'm so happy to have that book in my life. And the two other books, these are Barnes & Noble special editions of two classics that I absolutely adore. One of them is Anne of Green Gables. I never read this book actually, but I adore the story itself. And this is, again, very high priority on my TBR. And the next is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I have not read this book yet in English, but I want to. This is such a gorgeous book. Oh my god, guys. I picked up so many beautiful, amazing, fantastic quality books at Barnes & Noble. It's freaking insane. Next is another nonfiction that I picked up a couple of days ago, and I am super interested in this book. This is The Once and Future. I'm gonna put it here because I wanna read it till the end of this year. And also I want to read this fantasy romance by the end of this year. This is Radiance. People have such good opinions when it comes to this book, and this is very short and the font size is gigantic. I really wanna read it. It's enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers with a marriage of convenience subplot. I just might start this book today. This is Saturday, so when I'm done with this, I think I'm going to treat myself and start a new fantasy romance. Next is another Barnes & Noble special edition of The Nutcracker, and guys, I just wish you could like hold this book. It's so gorgeous. I never read The Nutcracker. It is on my December TBR. Oh, where to put it? Oh, probably here, because no, here. This is where I have the space. All right, the next is a non-fiction book that I am already reading, The Mountain Is You. I really like this non-fiction. I read a lot of like self-help / self-improvement books, and this is one of the best like self-improvement books that I've read this year. I really like it. And the next book, oh guys, I picked this up because of the cover. I am not going to lie. That is Ravaged. This is a new release. It came out October 29th or something like that, and this is about a burnt out witch who needs to rediscover herself. Look at that cover. Look at that cover. I'm not gonna say, you guys know what I wanna say. You guys know I wanna say, isn't it gorgeous? But I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say it. Just admire it. Okay, that's enough. Next is, I don't know what to expect from this book. This is A Diary of a Void. This is from a Japanese author, and apparently this book was a very big thing in Japan. And in this book, our female character, just to avoid the misogyny that she needs to deal with at her workplace, she decides to pretend that she is pregnant. I don't know, I really don't know what to like expect when it comes to this book, but I am expecting an unhinged female character, and I am here for it. I'm here for it. Next is A Record of a Spaceborne View. The only Becky Chambers book I haven't read, this is a book in the Wayfarer series. I don't know what's wrong with me, because that series, and just in general, the Becky Chambers sci-fis are life-changing, are so fantastic. I just don't know why I haven't read that particular book yet, but I will, okay? Oh, two non-fictions next, and both of them I am already reading. One of them is The Daily Stoic, so this is coming there, and the other one is The Patriarchs by Angela Saini. I am 50% into this book, and I think that I will finish it this year. I am like not in love with that book. I loved Inferior from this author so much. This one, I don't know how I feel about it, but certainly I am not unhauling it. Next is a special edition of Hemnet. This is a Little Free library find. I still cannot freaking believe it. This is something that stays with me. I actually want to read it. Oh no, I cannot put it on the second shelf. I have to put it here. I cannot fit hardbacks on the second or the third tier or shelf, so it goes up there. I want to read it in like January or February. So far, anything that I've read by Maggie O'Farrell, The Vanishing Act of Esme Lennox, or The Marriage Portrait, chef's kiss, fantastic book. So I expect a lot from Hemnet. Dress of the Emerald Sea certainly stays. I am reading Brandon Sanderson book, Elantries. This is something that I already started. I just couldn't really get into it. This is a fantastic book. I know that Brandon Sanderson himself says that this is not like one of his best books, because this is his first published book, and I read like around like 50-60 pages, and I love this book. Like, what the hell is he talking about? If this is not a good book, then I don't know what a good book is. Anyways, I'm going to please fit. I'm going to put it here. Oh, next one is The Cloisters by Katie Hayes, and this is something that unfortunately going because I cannot, this is such a disappointment for me, because when I read the epilogue and then the first chapter in one of my videos where I sampled like 20 books by reading the first chapters, I was in love with this book. I dog-eared already so many pages, and then I was like, oh. This book started out so promising, and then everything just went south. So no, thank you. Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but that book is not for me. Also, I am DNFing Think Like a Monk. This is a book that I bought used. It was really not expensive. How much was it? I don't know. I cannot find it. Anyways, an influencer self-help book. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for me. I do not deny that Jay Shetty is a massively intelligent guy. I just don't really vibe with his books. I don't know what to say. Next is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, a book that I am already reading and absolutely loving. I freaking adore this book. Adore this book. Maybe this is the book that I am finishing today, but I also really want to start that fantasy romance. Whatever. Either way, I am finishing a book today, and they're just like so gorgeous. This Barnes & Noble special edition is so gorgeous. And can you guys see that ash purple like sprayed edges, and just like, this book is perfection. And I am telling you that this book is going to be on my all-time favorites list, no questions asked. The next book, however, will not be on my all-time favorite list because it's a freaking tragedy. This is a book that I pre-ordered. The Bright Sword. Oh, this is a very heavy book. This is a gigantic fantasy book. When I read the description of this book and it said King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, I was like, say less, say less, say less. I'm picking this up. No, I DNF this book. This book is not good. Sorry, but this book is not good. Oh my god, I feel like I need to change position. Guys, so that's what we are going to do with the last stack of books that I picked up, I bought, I hauled. Some of them from bookstores, some of them from little free libraries, and there are a couple of books here that are from my neighbor. My neighbor is a book reviewer. Unfortunately, I am not really interested anymore in these books, and I am taking them to little free libraries. Speaking of little free libraries, the first book I picked up because I saw this book in a little free library, and I saw the cover and I saw the pastries, and I was like, this is a book that I need. So I ordered it, and then I was like, no, it doesn't sound interesting at all. So again, I just learned this lesson over and over and again. Do not pick up a book because you like the cover and because you like the pastries on the cover. Oh, another contemporary romance that has to go. Hate to fake it to you. I mean, the sheep and the goat in the cover, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, maybe on the back. They're just so cute, but I'm not interested in this book anymore. In general, when it comes to contemporary romance, it is really hard to tickle my pickle, if you know what I mean. So I am into fantasy romance and I am into historical romance big time, but I am very, very, very tough on the contemporary romance genre. Anyways, I'm just going to put it in a little free library and then somebody can enjoy it. The same with Wildfire. I'm sorry guys. I know that this is a second book in a sports romance series, whatever. Not my cup of tea. That is actually something that I got from my neighbor. The Paper Palace, this is also something that has to go. I am not interested anymore. The Book Thief, I know what some of you might think, but I'm just not really interested. I don't know what to say. The Family Next Door, this is also something I am not interested anymore. It has to go. And then there are two book club picks that I wanted to read for some book clubs that I am the part of, but I never got to reading them, and then the discussion happened and I am not interested in these books. One of them is Trust Exercise. No, thank you. And the other one is Our Missing Hearts by Celestine. And I know that this book was the rage. It actually took some time to get this book because I ordered it online, and you guys can see that this was a library book. I just don't really care about it anymore. I also don't care for the group. I am also no longer interested in The Paris Apartment, Riders and Lovers by Lily King. No. The Untethered Soul. No. This is a book that unfortunately didn't really age well. I did read like 5 to 10 pages in this book, but when it comes to these self-help, self-improvement books that were published like God some time ago, they just don't really hold very well, if you know what I mean. Girl, Serpent Thorn, no longer interested. An American Marriage, no longer interested. Sorry guys, I cannot really tell you much about these books because I haven't read them, I haven't sampled them, so we'll just have to go through them like this. Next is The Pineapple Street. Again, thank you, but I am no longer interested. And these two books are also coming from my neighbor. We Ride Upon Sticks, and this is something that was originally very interesting to me, so I decided to keep this book, but no longer interested. And All Good People here. This is a thriller, right? A novel. Whatever, I don't even remember, God's sake. Ooh. You can't ever know for sure what happens behind closed doors. Now that sounds good. I am nosy. I want to know what happens behind closed doors. Anyways, this is a book that has to go. I have enough books left on my TBR cart as it is. Thank you. Okay, now just give me a little bit of time to reorganize the cart a little bit and to put all my decoration on, and after that we will count the books that remain on my TBR cart and also the books that we unhauled. Alright guys, so here is the cart. I actually think it ended up looking really cutesy and really nice and organized. So here are a couple of books that I am already reading, or like books that are very high on my TBR, and these are like fiction, fantasy, etc. And these are the non-fiction book, My Little Plants, and then the decoration in the back. I have these two, Persuasion and Anne of Green Gables. Oh god, I really want to get to them this year. And then on the other shelves, tiers, whatever these things are, I have the books that I am reading, just probably not this year. Wow, this looks so much better. And these are the books, guys, that we unhauled in today's video. For now, I just put them in the armchair. So if I want to, like, you know, move them or reorganize them, I don't have to like bend every single time because it's quite heavy. We have 35 books here, guys. I am very proud of myself, and I am also very proud of you. Thank you so much for giving me company in today's video. Do your thing, hit share, like, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I have a lot of fun bookish videos coming up, and also special announcement, I am doing Bookmas this year. This is gonna be such a big challenge for me, but I can do it. I can definitely do it. We are doing it. It's not a question, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if you want to check out any of my other videos, I will leave them on the screen, and I'll see you soon in an upcoming video. Bye!
Oh my god. Oh my god, my bag. Oh, I'm an old woman. Oh my god. I cannot believe it. Oh my god.